Okay, we're going live. Thank you so much for joining, guys. Today is January 15, 2025. This meeting is for our real estate agents. And first, we want to get started with our ljagent.com. This is a website just for our agents to learn a thing or two and go back to things when it's needed. But the training video, those are the basically, we did not put 50 different videos, it's literally just five, right? And we want to make sure that we know the basics inside out. We're competing with a lot of agents out there. A lot of agents do not have full experience with Matrix. So I think the best thing to do is to learn this so we can even compete better and perform better when it comes to learning our tools, right? How to access it, how to add contacts, how to find them properties. All of them are in these short videos, right? Um, when it comes to paperwork, right? We do not want to say, hey, come to the office and you will sign these documents because you're really trying to break that deal. If they're really interested, you should right after showing, you say, hey, maybe by end of the today or maybe within a few hours, really depending on how aggressive you are. If they like the property, you want to put in an offer as soon as possible, right? You have transaction desk, which we're going to go over. Please ask any questions at that time if you want to learn anything about transaction desk and how we fill out the offer sheets, how we send it for e-signatures. Okay. But utilize this website, ljagent.com. You have to go to that website directly. We removed the passwords, so it's simply links for you to use. And it should hopefully you can, close more deals out of this. When you're closing the deal, we have checklists for that as well, guys. We have a checklist for when we are exchanging the checks between us with the brokerage. If you have a rental application in, you want to do make sure that you have a checklist for your rental side. Final walkthrough is super crucial that we actually get this signed. You don't want your client to go back and say, hey, you did not tell me about this issue, at the final walkthrough. It gives you a checklist what you should be doing at the final walkthrough. This is literally their last chance to look at the property and make sure that they're satisfied before they sign the closing documents. Okay. If you're a buyer's agent, you have a buyer's closing checklist there. If you want to advertise online, you have an advertisement checklist there as well. So utilize the website, guys, as much as possible. Some people are going to the forums and simply printing out the forms. We want you to use that, that's fine. But if you want to be a pro, you want to be a professional realtor out there, transaction desk is the way to go. Okay? If you guys have any questions regarding the tools, feel free to ask because that is the most important thing. If we don't know how to use the tools, we are not able to help out our clients. Okay, with that, guys, let's get started with our meeting here. The interest rates are still on the higher end. They're not coming down anytime soon. Okay, and I'm going to tell you the reasons. But Freddie Mac was showing that it was 6.93 for your 30-year conforming conventional loans, but Mortgage News Daily checks up on daily basis, and that is hovering on the higher end of 7.25 for your 30-year fixed conventional loans. If your client goes with FHA, there are pros and cons. One of the pro things is your interest rates. Interest rates are a little bit better for FHA, but there are some negatives as, maybe upfront cost, mortgage insurance not going away. So there's pros and cons when it comes to your FHA and conventional loans. Interest rates in general is going to stay on the higher end for maybe this year. Um, the reason is this chart that you guys need to understand. This is your inflation data. Okay, so inflation from November till December it went up. You don't want to see that. If you, as a real estate agent, if you want the Fed to do rate cuts and bring down the interest rate, we need to see this inflation data go down as well, which we saw in August and in September, right? September was the lowest, 2.4. Since then, that is the same time where we had really high interest rates, around 8%, and Fed finally said, hey, we're going to do 50 basis point rate cut. Did that help? Maybe for a couple of weeks. After that, the inflation has gone up from 6.2 to 6.7 to 2.6 to 2.7 to 2.9, right? We want to stay that maybe around 2 point, not 3.0. The way it looks, if the Fed was to do rate cuts today, right, or the next meeting, this inflation data is going to go even higher. Okay, so Fed is basically going to say that, hey, we're not going to do any rate cuts because we want the inflation to come down. Okay, so if your client is purchasing today and they say, hey, I want to purchase in Long Island, I want to purchase in Queens, and the property taxes are around $8,000, their monthly debt is $250. At today's rate at 7.25, they need to make around $130,000 in household income. It could be one person, it could be two people, it could be three, up to four people can make up to $130,000 with savings of $70,000 for your down payment. They can purchase a property around $695,000. Okay, so it's a little bit higher than what was expected before, but that's the truth. That they need to make over $130,000 in order to find a single family property with $8,000 property taxes. Okay, inventory overall, if you look at comparing it to 2022 to 2023 to 2024, it has gone up. And we're noticing that as well. Not much as on the commercial side, but for the residential single family properties, they are increasing, right? We know that the inventory is increasing. There's going to be a little bit, the buyers that have been waiting for a year, 2 years, they want to take some action because they're tired of paying their rent. Rent is not helping, right? So they need to make that move, and this is where you come in as a real estate agent. Okay. So in the news, the biggest news headlines that we saw was for Los Angeles. So, it was pretty devastating what we're seeing right now in LA, and it's been over a week now. Over 130,000 people had to evacuate. There's over 420,000 people that have no power, right? All their firefighters, over 7,000 of them have been deployed, right? And the winds and everything is so crazy out there that we just want to say that our hearts go out to all those people who are affected in those wildfires in LA, and hopefully you guys recover sooner than later. Okay, the survey that we guys send out, right? Today's meeting is all about leads, 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 right? We want leads. That's what I'm seeing on the charts here as well. That, hey, the number one question that we had was like, what challenges did you face in closing more deals last year? We know even our top producers, I was having the conversation with them, hey, the number seems low compared to what you're capable of, right? The biggest concern they had was like, hey, getting new clients, generating new leads, because the people that I have in my database, when I'm following up with them, they're simply not ready right now. So I need more leads, right? Some of you guys put in that, hey, lack of mentorship or guidance, right? The one of the biggest decision of my life was to make sure that I'm not producing, right? I'm not working with any clients. So that means that all the time that I have is for our real estate agents out there. You can use me in any way or form when it comes to real estate. Hey, I need help with this. I need help with that. I want to see that where it says, lack of mentorship or guidance to 0%, where you are not complaining about this, because I want to be that person where you guys can rely on. Some people do hesitate. Hey, he has a lot going on. Maybe he's not available. I am. Especially my top priority is our real estate agents, right? Then is our loan officers. And then we have everything else going on. So as real estate agents, independent contractors, call me anytime, right? Hey, I need help. I need to close more deals, right? But over 61% people said that, hey, we need to generate or difficulty generating leads for last year. We want to change that this year for you guys. Okay. Competition, market competition, 15% people said there was a lot of competition. I don't think there was a lot of competition, guys. There's so many people out there, so many real estate agents are simply giving up. So we don't want you to be part of that. You can say, hey, I will have less competition because not a lot of people are renewing their license. Not a lot of people are paying their MLS fees, right? So you want to be part of those stats who is producing this year to the maximum level you can. Okay. And next was that what resources or tools would you like to would like help with, right, to close more deals this year in 2025? Again, 85% of the people say, hey, lead generation programs. We want more leads, right? Advanced training, negotiation. Again, you have your property, you have a property that you showed, and you want to put in an offer. You call me. Hey, I have this 123 Main Street. I just showed this property. They listed it for $1 million. What do you think? We can do some comps. You can do it on your own. I can do it, and we can compare the numbers, and then you can put in an offer. Okay? Some of you guys, 14% said, hey, better CRM tools. I think what we have, Matrix and Transaction Desk, those are the best tools that you're going to find on the market. Okay. So, all these things, that survey that you guys were doing, it was really helpful that we got some feedback from you guys, right? So, how would you rate our office? 92% said excellent. Again, I'm glad that some of you guys are showing that, but I want to see the negative things. How can we actually improve? Right? So no need to sugarcoat anything. He's like, hey, I need help with this. I need, more leads, or I need more training. I need to come into the office more often. Let's be on that level. Okay. And 100%, I love the fact that everybody felt comfortable reaching out for support. There's, but not everybody filled out the form. This is only from 14 people. Okay. And what training or workshops would you find helpful this year? Majority of you guys selected social media, right? Social media. So you want to be part of that, right? You want to create flyers for yourself. We already told you what needs to be in compliance. If you're a brand new agent, please send us the artwork that you do. We can, once we approve it, you can start posting it online. If you're an experienced agent, already got our approval, you're going to follow the same format. Okay. So we got some positive feedback from that angle. Next question was like, how can our office or environment be improved to support you better? Some of you guys do want team building. The problem I have with team building is that we tried it as well, but not everybody's devoted towards that because we're having a hard time following, one person, then you have another person as a team member, you have issues with that. But if you guys want to build teams, work with one another, let's come up with the idea to do so. Okay? One person wrote prayers. I was laughing when I saw that. We all need some prayers in order to improve. Okay. So, is there anything specific that you want to see us grow or help you grow in 2025? Again, more leads, more leads, more leads. That's what I saw. Serious customers. Try to be on the buyer side, right? Interest rates are super high. You had limited inventory for the last 2 years. Every time, they're seeing the property, either the rooms are too small or it needs a lot of renovations, or they're not fond of their neighborhood, or maybe the high school or the colleges or schooling system is not there for them. So a lot of things have to check in, right? So we have to have some patience with them. Hey, they're not serious today, but let me follow up with them. If it's the schooling, let's see if we can take them to a different area where schooling is better, but not steer them away. Give them options. Hey, this is what is available in this area. This is how the schooling is. What do you think? Where do you want to be at? Okay. And this is what I really want to focus on is like, how many deals do you plan on closing in 2025? One person wrote 20 or more. I can tell you it's going to be really difficult to close 20. I can the one of the reasons we did not ask for your names on this survey because I wanted it to be anonymous and I want to basically see who's writing what freely, right? We start without putting their name on it. So 20 plus is not realistic. If you can do 20 here, you will be the top agent. I'm not saying that it's not impossible. It's just not realistic with the production that I'm seeing. Okay. Next was 5, 6 to 8, right? 10, 7, 6, 4, 4. Those numbers are definitely realistic. It can happen, but you have to get started today. You cannot wait until the springtime and then say, hey, I want to close more deals. No, you want to make sure that you're showing so many properties right now that you're going under contract so where you can close 6 to 8 deals. And that should be the goal for every agent out there. 6 to 8 deals in a whole year. Maybe one deal might bring you a little bit of commission, maybe another one will bring you a lot, right? But if you want to average that out, you want to make a living out of your real estate license, 6 to 8 should be your goal. If you can close more, big ups to you. Okay. And when you say, hey, as many as possible, that means you're not really telling yourself or setting a goal for yourself. I think I have a problem with that as well, right? Because you don't know. You say, hey, whatever, falls in my lap. No, you have to set the goals. I need to close 6 to 8 deals this year. It's January now. I don't have anything under contract. How could I go under contract? That means I need to show the properties to as many clients as possible, right? Maybe I need to start working with at least 3 or 4 solid clients, right? I want to make sure that if I'm showing them properties on a regular basis, out of whatever the properties I'm showing, eventually they will say that, hey, let's put in an offer for this one. Okay. So please set a goal for at least 6 to 8 deals this year. It is definitely doable. Okay. So again, we asked for additional comments. Some of them said, hey, I've been working with clients, but prospects are not serious. I definitely need quality leads, right? The key word I saw many times was the word leads, right? Glad to be associated with us. Great. All the when you guys say positive things about us, we do appreciate it. We do say thank you to that. But we want to focus on the people who are complaining about little things that can make a big difference for all of us. Okay. So 79 people actually view this survey, or there was 79 visits for the survey. Only 14 people filled the survey out, right? So it's not done yet. We're gonna keep sending you this link until we have at least 40 responses, right? We have 60 agents. We're expecting at least 40 responses, and just be honest. And we want to improve as a company. We're not looking to, you guys putting in positive things. Tell me the negative things so we can improve as a company here. Okay. Anybody you want to throw in a comment on the survey or any feedback? Right. The form is really simple, just about a few questions, and it's you can skip them, skip few if you don't have any answer to it. But we do expect everyone to fill out this survey as soon as possible. Okay. You already got a text message, you got an email, so please make sure that that is done in few days. Okay. So as a real estate agent, you have a client that's a first-time home buyer, right? They're so right in the middle where they can't make that decision right now. Like, hey, should I buy the house? Should I keep renting right now? You really got to know their situation. So some of the common questions that you should be asking, like, hey, which area do you want to be at? What is the reason that you want to be there? Either their family's there, they have, a work, they're working nearby, their schooling system is good, right? So they want to be in that particular area for whatever reason. Find out that reason why they want to be there. Okay. Once they are ready, they're saying, hey, I want to go ahead and start seeing the properties. You should say, hold up, I can show you the properties, but I just want to make sure you are pre-approved, right? That might discourage some first-time home buyers, but you want to educate them and say, hey, you don't want to waste your own time. I don't want to show you the property, and then we're about to put in an offer, and you go to see it, two different loan officers, and both of them say, hey, you don't qualify for anything, right? So why not take that first step first? We want to make sure you're pre-approved so you know your budget and you know which loan options that you're going to go with. Okay. And if you are trying to buy in today's market, we know it's a tough decision. So if it's a tough decision, that means you have some power right now, which is more negotiating power because there's less buyers like you that's going to go ahead and buy today. Okay. You can do a faster closing. You can find motivated sellers. Why? Because there's less competition for you. Interest rates come down. There's more, buyers out there. Of course, it's just supply and demand. But some things seem so simple to you, but not to the first-time home buyer. You have to break it down to them. Hey, the interest rates are high. It's a tough decision. But if you are renting right now, you have stable income, and you want to be in this neighborhood for 5, 10 years, it's a good idea to purchase the property instead of paying rent. Okay. So next, you want to explain the credit scores to them, right? This is part of our presentation. I just took a screenshot of that, and you want to explain to them that, hey, when it comes to your credit scores play a big role which loan options that you qualify for. If it's just one person, let's say a wife wants to buy the house and it's going to be under her name, right? So if she's getting the mortgage, we need to see her credit scores. And if her credit scores are 700, 710, 720, we can use 710. If it's just her on the mortgage, she can qualify for all the loan types out there because her credit scores are above 700. So if your credit scores are above 700, Mr. Buyer, then you should have no option. I mean, you should have all the options when it comes to your loan. Okay. But if you want to add another cosigner, which is, let's say, your husband, and his credit scores are lower than yours, then the lender is going to use the lower credit scores and not yours. So if a husband was to come in and his middle score is 660, we can only qualify him, or he will only be qualified for FHA and conventional. Okay. And if they have a third person, we mentioned that we can use 3 or 4 people on a loan application, up to 4 people. And let's say sister-in-law wants to come in and her credit scores, the highest she has is 610. Guess what? The whole family now only qualifies for FHA. Okay. That part right there, you have to break it down. So this way, you're saving them a lot of time when it comes to, adding cosigners. If somebody wants to be added as a cosigner, they clearly knows, hey, Janet told me this, Tracy told me this, that hey, if I were to add a family member and their credit scores is lower than mine, the lender is going to use their credit scores to qualify it, not mine, right? That little piece plays a big role. So you want to make sure that you tell your clients if your credit scores are above 700, you should have no problem. If it's between, 650 to 670, you're going to be limited to, FHA and conventional. If it's below 620, you only have FHA loan option available. Okay. Next, guys, leads, right? One we're going to be talking about is expired listings, right? This is where when we say, hey, how is this listing agent getting so many leads, right? I was watching one interview about 2 weeks ago from one of the agents who I saw. He was with a brokerage in Long Island, and he moved from that brokerage to a different one, and he has 15 to 20 active listings right now as we speak, right? In Long Island. And his thing was, my main lead source is my expired listings. So I said, hey, maybe hopefully one of our agents can follow that as well. So when it comes to expired listings, maybe the listing was only available for 3 months, maybe 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, really depending on the property itself, right? The property was listed on the market, did not sell. Does not mean that the seller did not want to sell it or did not accept the offer. It could have been many different things that gone wrong in that time frame. So as a new agent, right, for that seller, you can play a big role. So first, you can know that expired listings can be a gold mine of opportunity for realtors. Okay, many sellers of expired listings are still motivated and they want to relist it within 18 months. So within a year or so, they definitely want to sell that house. Some of them will relist it right away. Some of them will wait maybe a few months. Some of them will say, hey, remember maybe the old agent said that you really need to renovate this place if you want to get the price that you want. So maybe he wants to actually or she actually wants to renovate the place and then relist it, right? So what's your mindset of, with the, working around with your expired listings? Some agents think that, hey, they're simply mean, right? Their prices were way too high. It's hard to get them on the phone, right? Or you simply say, I don't have time. All these are rejections, right? So you want to overcome them. Just know for a fact that if somebody decided to put a property on the market and it did not sell, there's a good chance that person still wants to sell that, right? So you can really help them out with that. So the first question that you want to see is that was the home overpriced? possibly, but they could be more as well, right? How the home was marketed, how's the accessibility of showings, right? Are you actually hosting open houses, or did the last agent actually host open houses or not? I know many listing agents just rely on private showings, and they say, hey, it's a waste of time for me to wait there for 2 hours. Only one person shows up, or two people show up. Guess how many people do we need to sell the property? Just one, right? So you have to decide, hey, am I going to really put in the work or not? Maybe the last agent, Mr. Seller, did not do that for you, but I'm going to do that. You tell me, hey, we want to do only private showings. I want to tell you the benefit of the open houses. A lot of agents, especially with the new, a lot of buyers out there, especially with the new changes and everything, do not have a buyer's agent. They're scared to sign any paperwork. So this way, they simply want to go to Zillow and see which property has an open house this weekend, and they want to go see that. So let me market it properly for you. Okay? What's the condition for the property? As we mentioned, maybe it does need renovation. Let's renovate it for the maximum profit. Okay? And it could be the location of the property as well. So this script here, you guys can, in your own time, practice this in your own time as well. But you want to say, hey, Mr. Seller, I'm curious. What did your agent tell you was the reason that the property didn't sell? Right? It must have a couple of reasons, right? If you had zero offers, what was the reason for zero offers? Okay. Was it negotiation? Did the deals fall through? Like what really happened? Right? So certainly the price is a factor, but it could be other factors as well. So you want to say that, hey, I'm an expert in analyzing why homes didn't sell, and I want to create a custom plan for a successful outcome. What is that successful outcome? To sell your property. I want to sell that property as quickly as possible. I want you to have go under contract as soon as possible and move on to your next chapter of your life. Okay? Maybe the seller say, "Hey, I don't want to put the property on the market right now." Right? You can say, "Hey, it's perfectly fine," but at least break the ice of going to the property and seeing what's the condition look like. You can tell them, "I have many buyers," right? Because you have a database. You have people in your database where in your matrix, and maybe you go see the property and say, "Hey, this might be perfect for John Smith, Khan, doesn't matter who it is." Okay? How about if he says, I'm not listing right now? Again, if he's not listing right now, still try to get inside the house. Okay, you want to find out the reason they don't want to sell. You want to find out the reason. How can you go inside and speak to them in person? Okay, if they do ask for buyers, you are working with an office, right? You have other peers that are have clients in their database, so you can utilize it. If you go see a seller and you see a property, takes few photos, make a small video, maybe a minute, 2 minutes, put it in our WhatsApp group, and say, hey, I have a off market listing, and do you guys have any buyers for that? Okay. So a predictable process produces predictable results. It's time to create your expired process. You want to make sure that you know that you can actually have the guts to actually call these sellers. There are sellers who receive multiple phone calls because just like how you're trying to do this call, there are other agents from other agencies doing the same thing, but we want to be part of those conversations. So this way, that seller has different choices. Hey, I don't want to work with this agent. I don't want to work with this one. Maybe I do want to work with this agent because he has so much experience, or whatever your um, presentation was about. Okay. Time blocking as an independent contractor is the biggest thing you can do for yourself, guys. If you learn how to time block, like, hey, this is going to be my dedicated time just to do this type of activity. It could be 30-minute block just to for you to follow up with your clients, to call, or to just look at the property on Matrix. Because as an independent contractor, nobody's forcing you to do anything. You get 8 deals a year, you get one zero deal or zero deals. It's all up to you. So you got to learn like, hey, I have to devote time to real estate. I want to do a time block, maybe 30 minutes, an hour, and go from there. Okay. So you want to look at your database. You want to look at, your expired listings. First, you want to see if we can actually try to get their emails and phone numbers so you can call them. If you don't have any of that, you do have the address. And if it's nearby, you can definitely go there, knock on the door, and say, hey, I'm a real estate agent. I saw this property was off market now, right? It was on the market before, it's expired. Could I take a look at it? And have the same conversation that you would have had over the phone, but now the main thing is to go inside and see the property. Okay. So you saw here that you need to contact or make attempts 5 times before you should give up on any client, right? My question to you is that are you willing to try to stay in touch with your clients at least 5 times, right? If you call them and they didn't pick up, did you try it again? Did you leave a voicemail? Did you email them, right? They're trying to buy a house, guys. So we have to learn how to build relationship with them, really get to know that client. That client is not a one-time transaction. That client is going to be with you for a long, long time. So trying to connect with them 5 times is not a big number. But we need to get comfortable after the first call. It didn't happen. I'm going to try again. Okay. So the main thing is to know that having those guts to actually call those so you can look at, what are some tips that's going to take you there. One way to get this list is through VetX. We've been mentioning that on our last meeting as well. Some of our agents are using it. I encourage everyone to actually test it out. You can watch their demos. You can go ahead and see what it's all about. If it doesn't work out, guys, it's gonna, after a month, you can cancel it. But try it out so where you can get an area, you can pick a zip code and it will give you all the listings, all the expired listings. Some agents say, hey, I get the same information in Matrix. I can create a filter. Yes, but you don't get the seller's phone numbers, right? The homeowner's phone numbers or emails, but this system will provide that to you. Okay. They have two different plans. They have the expired leads for $69.99, and then they have the plus one for $129. I recommend that you start off small, the $69 one. See how that goes. If everything goes well, let's say if you were able to connect with 4 or 5 different sellers, hey, $69 is nothing. Then you can go to the $129 and get more insights and more details from that listings. Okay? But this year is the year that you want to try different things where you can produce better results. Okay? Next is Zillow, guys. Very few agents are inquiring. Sunil, you called me earlier today too. For Zillow Premier Agent account, I highly recommend that every one of our agents go ahead and signs up with them because next few months is the time to advertise. Okay, November, December, we always say do not advertise because it's hard to get those conversions. Now we're telling you in after January, February, March, April, this is the time to do it. If you want to get your name out there, this is the time to do it. So first is creating a Zillow profile. I believe half of you guys already created those. I saw a headshot photo. Some of you guys have reviews on it. So that's all good stuff. So that part is free. So if it's free, why not create one, a Zillow profile for yourself? If you need any help, you come to the office and we can do it together. So once you have a profile selected, then you want to connect with them so you can start advertising. So how does Zillow actually works, right? How many people know about Zillow? Almost everyone in the United States, right? They're going to Zillow sometimes just to browse for different properties out there. They're not even serious. They're thinking about buying a house. They'll go to Zillow. There are some clients who are very serious. They've been looking for the last 2 years. They still go to Zillow even if they have an agent. You could be telling them, hey, I'm sending from Matrix, One Home. They're still going to Zillow. Why is that? Because Zillow is a brand, right? When you become a brand like Nike or any of the Apple, any of these companies out there, people have trust in that. So you want to make sure that if your clients are on Zillow, why not you should be on Zillow and advertise and get those leads from Zillow, right? So when client is going on Zillow and just typing in a zip code, we have this property for $1.2 million in South Ocean Park. It's 5 bedrooms, 4 baths, right? And now the client that's sitting at their house, maybe they want to see this property. They don't know who the listing agent is. They're simply telling Zillow they can either request a tour or contact an agent. Notice it does not say contact listing agent. It simply says contact an agent. So when they click on that, they will see these forms, either request a tour and they select the time and everything, or they can just say, hey, contact the buyer's agent, and they type in their name, phone number, and email. If they were to do that, that becomes a lead. But who gets that lead is the agent who's advertising in that zip code. So if this property is in 11420, Zillow is going to look at their algorithm and say, hey, Damien, Miranda, Paul, Janet, these people are advertising on Zillow with us. But guess what? Maybe Paul is going to be advertising more than Janet, right? Or spending more budget than Janet. Maybe he will get that lead, right? So we're competing with at least 5 to 7 different agents in each zip code, if not more. Okay? So if we're competing, what really matters is the ranking. So you want to compare apples to apples. So let's say your budget is $100 per month. You want to give Zillow $100 every month, and they will tell you once you log in that three different things. One is that which zip code that you want to be in, what your rank is going to be for that budget, and how many leads are estimated from that budget. So you want to write that down. Hey, for 11420, I'm going to be ranked number 3, and it's telling me that I should get around 5 leads. But if I select 11418, a different zip code, it's going to rank me number 2, so even higher than 11420, and it's going to give me 6 leads instead of 5. So it's no brainer. For the same $100, I'm going to be ranked better in 11418, and they're promising me a little bit more leads. So I'll select that one. So you actually have to do the research once you sign up. It's just a tool that you see on your portal. You just type in the zip code and you select, you will see the following that we just mentioned. So if you're a brand new agent, when you're starting out with them, there is a 6 month commitment. So you don't want your budget to be skyrocketing. You want to keep it as low as possible. So you can always increase it, but you cannot decrease it. So if your budget is $100, $150, that should be fine. I had few agents who did it above 500. I do not recommend that in the initial stages, but start with 100 to 150, see what type of leads that you get from them, and then actually increase your budget if you're converting. Okay. So why Zillow works for agents? This is the stats around 3%, 2.8x more transactions closed on average by agents who use Zillow compared to who do not. So if you want to be advertising on Zillow, Zillow is a good platform to do so. Okay. 84% of the home buyers in the US use Zillow Group as part of their home buying. Sometimes they go to Trulia. Trulia is also part of Zillow. So when you're advertising with Zillow, they have secondary websites. You still get advertised there as well. End of the day, if they're promising you 6 leads per month, they should give you 6 leads per month as well. Okay. Questions, concerns, guys, on Zillow? Sure, sure. So for Zillow to get started, you can call them on this number here, or you could go to this website. Okay. Once you sign up, I mean, when you call them, you want to make sure you have your profile set on Zillow. If it's not set, right, if you had never created one, we can create it for you, or you can do it yourself. But you go to the same website, Zillow.com, try to sign in there, and the one of the representative will call you, usually the same day, and say, hey, you want to advertise? Let me go ahead and show you how you're going to do so. The only thing you need to know is your budget. Once you know your budget, what your budget is going to be, right? Keep it as small as possible, and then compare it with different zip codes, at least 4 or 5 different zip codes just like this. So Sunil, you're in New Hyde Park. I would go ahead, put in New Hyde Park and see what my rank will be for $150 per month, right? Most likely, anybody that has a budget of less than $200, the rank, most of them are available for like maybe rank 4, rank 5. So it's not the most, the top ranking for that type of budget. If your budget is $400, $500, definitely you will be number one, number two in many of those zip codes. But how are you going to know? By comparing it. So once you are logged in into Zillow, it gives you the portal, you type in the zip code, and it will tell you what rank and how many leads. Compare that, and then you can choose. If you want to review those with me before you go ahead and be committed to Zillow, I'm perfectly fine with that. Okay, so that's the website here, guys. Okay. Their competitor is Realtor.com. Realtor.com, if you guys remember, if you guys started with us maybe 5, 6 years ago, it was called OpCity, right? OpCity, Realtor.com, they're still the same thing. But with OpCity, it was not monthly basis. Rather, they would give you the leads and everything, but they will charge you up to 35% from your commission. A lot of agents, when they start closing deals, did not like that feature either. But if you were brand new, you were fine with it. But anyhow, Opcity, they actually stopped that feature. Now with the Zillow and Realtor.com, they're identical. So as I just mentioned for Zillow part, same exact thing for Realtor.com. So Realtor.com is called Realtor.com Pro. You will have, if you just go there and click on, or you can call them from this number here, same exact thing. They will help you set up your profile. Once your profile is set, you can select your budget and which area that you want to be in. Okay. We saw good results from Realtor.com and Zillow.com, but my main thing is for you guys to be encouraged and actually try out different systems. If you are not spending any money on leads, there's no way we're going to be converting, 8 or 10 deals this year. It's just not going to happen, right? Anybody wants to share their experience for Zillow.com or Realtor.com? Good. So again, we know we have agents who are advertising on both platforms, right? They are converting as well. The main thing is for you to try it if you have not tried it before. Okay. So pick one, test it out for 6 months or so, right? At least 6 months, Zillow or Realtor.com. If you want to choose both, if you have a higher budget, you can do so, but I don't recommend it. If you're just starting out, I will start off with Zillow or Realtor.com. Pick one and go from there. Okay. Next, guys, if you guys have any questions, you guys can speak up anytime. Next, I want to go over your transaction desk, and you guys tell me if you guys have any questions regarding that, right? Why is transaction that's so important? It tells you or tells the client right off the bat if you're a professional or not. If you do this for a living or if you're just a part-timer and you have no clue what you're doing, right? That's how big of a difference is when it comes to paperwork. Showing a property, yes, you can show the property, your license, you're showing the property, but when it comes to paperwork, when it comes to offer letters, we want to be so professional that they feel like, hey, he or she knows what they're doing. Okay? So first, I would go to transaction desk. Okay? I'm creating a transaction. Some of you guys are just putting your client's name, Bob Smith, perfectly fine. Some of you guys putting in the word buyer, and then they also putting in their name. So let's say it's Tracy, right? I'm selecting the template, buyer's template. I'm unchecking where it says use wizard. I don't need to use the wizard. Okay. I just typed in the name, selected the template, and hit create. Okay. Before you touch any forms, any documents, anything, first you have to tell the system who the buyer is. So you have to click on contacts and you have to click on add. Create a new transaction. Who is this person? He's a buyer. What's his name? He's Bob. What's his last name? Smith. What's his email? Okay, put in a valid email. Add to address bar. Okay, that's how simple it is. If you have his wife wants to be added, that's fine. Brother, sister, you add as many people as you want using the same feature. And when it comes to forms now, you want to click on forms. You want to make sure this is the main form that we want to make sure that every one of us understand that we have to get this signed before the showings. I get emails or phone calls from our agents all the time. Hey, my buyers are not ready to sign this form yet. So you have to break it down to them. We already showed you on a NAR website, there's a fact check. They can go there, they can verify, they can call MLS, but you need to be professional and say, hey, if you cannot get this part right, I'm not able to help you out. I want to make sure that I'm not worried about my commission later on. I have to explain it to you. I'll keep it very simple. I need to get paid 2%. If I get paid 1% from the seller side, then I'll minus it from here. I cannot get paid more than 2% from any side. Okay, because I'm agreeing 2% with you, that's the maximum. If the seller is willing to help you out in any way, if he's willing to pay me 2%, then you owe me nothing. But if I get paid 1% from the seller side, then you owe me 1%. Okay, this is all negotiable. Okay, you're filling this out, you're putting in the length, how long is the agreement for, you're putting in the property criteria here, right? And you're sending it for e-signatures. Okay, in order to do that, I'm clicking on this pen icon. Okay, I'm scrolling down all the way down here and I want him to sign right here. So I can see which person I need to add. So I click on signers, add participants. My mouse just died, guys. Give me 1 minute. Okay, it's back. All right, so I'm clicking on signers, add participant, add from transaction. I see Bob Smith there and I select him. Okay, so he's showing under the telephone. I can scroll that up and I can hit next and send it for e-signatures. Okay, now Bob Smith will get an email like this. It says your signatures has been requested. So Bob will go ahead and click on start signing. Bob sees this message. Bob clicks on start, clicks on the signature part, set signature, complete signing. That's how easy it is. Less than 30 seconds. Less than 30 seconds, guys. So you want to make sure that you guys are on the same page when it comes to getting anything e-signed. Okay? So coming back to the transaction here, how do I get this form now? How do I get this form so I can have it on my file? You can click on it. Now we're in the signing here. I can click on it and view signed PDF. So as an agent, you see this form signed, it's fully executed, you're good to go. Okay? All the other forms that we have here are required for you to fill out eventually for before your closing. Right? There are a few forms that you need to get signed before you even do an offer sheet, which is your agency disclosures and anti-discrimination form. Okay? When it comes to offer, even with experienced agents, I am talking to them and they're saying that, hey, I'm not too sure way to put in the commission that we're asking for from the buyer, from the seller side, right? Where do we see that? That is in your section F, right? This is where you're saying it. So let's actually put in an offer. Let's put in an offer for 865,000. So this one, letter B, is saying that do we need seller to pay any concession? Is there any seller's concession? There should be zero. Okay. And down payment, some people are putting the full down payment here. That is not correct. We need to put in how much are we putting on the contract. This is your earnest deposit. Maybe $20,000 is more than fine for this transaction. What your mortgage is going to look like, what your down payment remaining balance is going to look like. Okay. And this is where you're asking. Some listing agents are not telling you guys that, hey, we're paying you this much. You can ask for a commission. If the listing agent does not say anything, hey, here's our offer for $865,000, but we're asking for 2% back or 1.5% back. Okay? So make sure that means if your offer gets accepted, your seller is going to be paying 1.5%. If you have the agreement signed already from the buyer side for 2% and they're offering you 1.5, the buyer now owes you only 0.5%. Okay? Contingencies, you want to put this check mark for the financing all the time because your client has a pre-approval but does not mean that they actually have a they can get the mortgage. Maybe the loan officer did not do their job and just wrote a pre-approval just like that. So you always want to check this off where it says financing. Home inspection, it really depends on your client. There are deals that where the client says, hey, I'm perfectly fine, I don't need any home inspection. Then you say, okay, but you always should recommend it that they actually do a home inspection to know what's right and wrong about that property. Okay. Anything else, if you want to include, exclude, that's perfectly fine. And then you get an e-sign the same way that we just did now. Okay. So we really need to know that, hey, how are we going to fill out the offer sheet? How are we going to send it for e-signatures? So let's say I show them the property at 10 a.m. this morning, and by 12 o'clock, I'm sending in an offer, and your client is really going to be satisfied with your service because you're doing everything that you're supposed to be doing, right? So you want to make sure that we know how to use our tools, guys. Any questions on this? Okay. Okay. So Rupinder, I think you were asking, how about if we have a document, right? These are forms that we actually have that we're filling out. Sometimes we have a document. It could be for FHA amendment or any document that you want to upload, right, to the system. It could be a pre-approval letter, anything like that. So instead of forms, you want to go to documents. And once you go to documents, you're going to click on add new document, and then you can add whatever document that you have. Right? Oh, this is a too large file. So any PDF, you're going to add it from there. Let's do one more. Okay. So once I see that form that I uploaded, where did it go? Okay. New document. Okay. So once I see this document and I want to edit or I want to send it for e-signature, then I click on send to authentic sign. Okay. Same pen. So the biggest difference is where do you upload them? Not under forms, rather you do it under documents here. Okay. Rupinder, does that answer your question or was it something else? It's good, right? Perfect. Yep. So you're welcome. So guys, transaction desk is like is part of your membership from MLS. This is what you guys want to use on daily basis. Hey, I have a client, it's a new lead, I need this document signed, send it to them. Even if they don't want to sign it right away, at least they have an email with all your paperwork. Whenever they're ready, they will sign it, right? Some people would simply say, hey, I don't want to work with you right now because you're sending me all the paperwork right now. On the other hand, that same client could be saying that, hey, this person is professional. He or she is being very transparent from day one, not telling me, hey, I need this sign later on. No, if you're doing everything up front, that also gives you a positive, thing for that agent, right? So that agent is going to stick out because the other agent started just showing the properties without following the rules. If you're following the rules, you're using your systems, end of the day, you're going to stick out as a professional compared to another agent out there. Okay? All right, guys, we're running out of times. I do have more slides, but that'll do it from my end. Any last minute questions, concerns before we get going? Yeah, yeah, Janet. Sure. Yeah, sure. It's called VetX. I'll definitely text it to everyone too. I'll put it in a WhatsApp group, but it's called vetx.com. Okay? Yep. All right, guys. That'll do it from my end. Thank you so much for joining, guys. I will see you guys next time. Take care, all right? Yep. You're welcome. Bye-bye. All right, that'll do it. All right. Now you can go ahead and edit. Um, let's see what you show. Oh, just different shots. How about this? We'll make it easy because I'm gonna be busy with the second one. You continue with the other ones, and then tomorrow morning we can work on these. Yeah. Yeah, the best thing to do is have them come in, talk to Josh, right? And he's gonna give them all the options, including you guys, include without them, different scenarios. So this way, yeah, yeah, it's possible. Yeah, just do that. Yeah, he's gonna go through all that. So whatever the price range is and everything, he's gonna give you different scenarios. So within maybe half an hour, just write down all the questions that you guys might have, and he'll definitely take care of it.